So you're having one-on-ones and you're having 10 over 2 weeks, but you got the big old 0 in referrals. Well, we have the answers for you, tips, tricks, tactics coming up in today's episode. So welcome to Network Today, where we take you from meeting people to
making money
faster. And I'm Sheryl Powers, and I have helped thousands of entrepreneurs like me build their network.
My name is Rob Bliss, and I am a small business owner who has 10x'd my business by doing networking the right way.
That's right, because we have done it the wrong way. Just know that we've done it the wrong way. So we're here to help you do it the right way as well. And we're in this series of 4 pillars to networking. So pillar number 1 was
building your community.
Building your community. So building the community was?
It was finding the different networking groups, which groups to attend and which groups would benefit your type of industry.
That's right. So go back to the last episode, catch up on that, because this is all about pillar number 2, which is
building relationships.
That's right. And relationships are built through one-on-ones. I've had some stellar ones. So we can really talk about what a one-on-one is. What is a one-on-one to you? Or what is a one-to-one?
Absolutely.
Right? We're renaming this.
Renaming one-to-one. And really so critical to build those relationships. And what I like to focus on in my one-to-ones is about getting to know the person first on a personal basis. Don't really attack them like a shark where you're going after, can you give me referrals and all that kind of good stuff. Let's really build that trust factor.
Yes, absolutely. So if you don't build the trust, it's just a transaction, right?
Yeah.
I got a business card, you got a business card, we're just swapping cards, and I got a gazillion like you. So unless I know you, and people will fight me on this all day long, unless I know you, like you, and trust you, and then really like you again, I could go to anybody to get that part of my referral pillar or sphere of influence taken care of, right? I can refer anybody. I don't have to refer you.
Absolutely. And it's so critical. I was just having a one-to-one this morning, and it really opened my eyes again. It's because we meet so many people, Sheryl.
Yeah.
And so you've got to find out what relationships can you spend the time to really build, because you can't do it to everybody. You've got to go through the weeds and find the flowers. So it's important to build it, to trust people. How do you do that? You ask good personal questions.
Right. So here's 30, let's just say a one-on-one is 30 minutes. Okay. So sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 15 minutes. We'll just say 30 minutes. So if you really want to know how to strategically get to the money faster, then be very intentional about your one-on-ones. And I always like to start out with personal questions. Not everybody, some people like to jump straight to the business card. And I know you're talking about the personal questions too. I think that's super important. And I take at least the first 5 to 10 minutes, right? Because the personal is really important. What are some of the personal questions you like to open up with that create dialogue in that one-on-one?
Well, I think one of the ones I use is just as a kid growing up, what did you do for fun?
Yeah. That's good.
I think, especially at our age now, we're kind of reflecting in the past, and your childhood's very important. And, your family, where did you go on summer vacations? What were some of your favorite places you went to in the United States or whatever? So, really get close to them, close to their heart.
Yeah. So when in doubt, you can always start out with geography, right?
Yeah.
So where did you grow up? Where do you live now? Where do the kids go to school if you have them? If you have a spouse or a partner, where are they in this whole thing, right? And what brought you here, really? And what do you love about it?
Right.
So these are good open-ended questions that then lead to dialogue. And I always find that I like people better, not worse, after I learn more about them.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I like what you said here is that it leads to, to more dialogue. Of course, when you're talking to somebody, they say, oh, I'm from Chicago. Well, for me, what that brings back to me is I had a tremendous Christmas one time when I went from Kalamazoo, Michigan to Chicago on a date. And it was a week before Christmas. And I told that experience of going downtown Chicago to Marshall Fields, and we immediately bonded at that point in time.
Oh, I think it's brilliant. I really think it's brilliant. So, and for me, growing up on the West Coast, and somebody says, "Oh yeah, I'm a beach person," then we could always talk about beach things. But here's what's really important about this. So you're taking notes. I'm telling you, take notes during your one-on-one. I take them electronically. Other people take them by hand, and then they have to go find them. But whatever, right? Take your notes and make sure you refer back to them. But these points are really important because it's a great way to connect people with other people in business who are like-minded. So if somebody's in Plano and they have kids who play soccer, and I know somebody else who I just met that's in Frisco and their kids play soccer and they're all about the same age. Well, that's a beautiful, even if the business itself is a disconnect, but that's a personal connection point that then they can back into business. But we all have to edify one another, and those personal talking points are really important.
No, absolutely. And I think what it does, it gives you, again, it leads to the purpose, Sheryl, from a trust factor is I will trust this person to handle talking to my clients.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You know, so it kind of
That's great.
warms that whole thing up, and so that you understand this person a little bit better. Therefore, you're going to be happy to turn over some leads or introduce them to some people within your own community.
Yes, and this is a great point, Rob, because what it says is that you know how to handle a discussion with me properly. You know how to pull out the good stuff from me and engage with me and give me eye contact.
Yes.
So therefore, yes, I'm pretty confident that my client will have the same experience. So that's good.
Yeah.
So say it's the first 5 to 10 minutes of that 30 minutes. Then moving into the business component, right? So how do you do that? How do you move from personal into business? What are some of the questions you ask?
Well, I mean, here I've got my resource here.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's so important that you have prepared good questions that, from your particular industry that you need to find out how this person can help you. But some of the ones I've done in mine, Sheryl, are, one is how important is networking to you? So I can tell if this person is going to be a good networker or not. Tell me your best success story from networking. And then, one of the common ones is, who is your ideal client?
Yeah.
Who do I need to connect you with? So now I'm getting a little bit closer to the business side and seeing how I can help them. And I like to hear the answers to it because it shows you how well prepared that person is. And that is he a connector or a networker? Yeah.
And this is a great tool. So get that one-on-one document. You can get it from the resources online at networktodaydfw.com. That's super great. It will really help you. And then you get into your belly and you won't have to look at it anymore.
Right, exactly.
Right. But for me, I say, so what brought you into Texas? That's a big question because so many people are moving here. And so what brought you here? What do you love best about it? So how did you end up in the business that you're in? Right. So then all of a sudden now you're talking business. Now let's talk about that next 10 minutes, all right? So you're maybe into the 15 minutes of your 30 minutes and the next 10 minutes. For me, I like to begin to ask, so you probably could do business with everybody, but you'll never get a referral that way.
Right.
You will, if you can help everybody, then you'll help nobody. That's just the truth. So even if you can help everybody, narrow down your focus. So I ask, so even though you can help everybody, Rob, who's your favorite? Like, where does your heart live? Like, what's your experience say about you that then can steer you to other industries that you just love?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great way to approach it. And something I think that I do is I ask them, like, tell me a couple of deals that you're working on right now.
That's another great question.
Give them specifically so I know what type of company, and then how did you find out about that company? Why should that company choose you? So now I'm seeing how he, interacts with the customer, and again, you can learn a lot from that question.
Yes, absolutely you can. Then for me, so I move into who do you like to work with to then who are great referral partners. So and even if they kind of get a blank stare sometimes because somebody might be like, I'm kind of new to networking. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm saying, who has referred you business and what does that person do for a living? right? So typically people can isolate, oh my goodness, so I'm a business advisor and I typically get a lot of referrals from fractional COOs, CPAs, and business attorneys, right? So I'm just making that up. But then that allows me to say, oh my gosh, on my list, I've got these really hot new referral prospects for you, and I'm typing in my notes, intro to name.
Right.
Always, Rob, and I think this is just so important, A, to take notes.
Critical.
Beat it right there in the moment.
Yeah.
Take care of writing down the names of the intros so that then it's a no-brainer. Following up is so much easier than, oh my gosh, who did I promise?
Right.
I don't have a mind like a steel trap.
Right.
So
No, that's so important. And again, I've got to give you credit for this, Sheryl, in the sense that by hearing, because you are so good at that, and I am taking better notes. I am getting better on my follow-up. But it's a process. And if you're not used to doing it, it's gonna take you a while to learn it. But by practicing these things, by listening to the show, surrounding yourself with professional networkers, you're going to improve on your habits.
Yeah, and one of the other things that throwing into here, and this is really kind of born out of what you're talking about, being personal and finding out where they, what they did for a living, what they do for fun and things like that. Not just a living, but what do you do for fun?
Right.
Where do you go to school? Alumni associations are great networking tools.
Yes.
And I have been able to, so there are a lot of UNT alums, there are a lot of OU alums, right? And so if you can find, and they're fanatics, like fanatics about A&M, fanatics. So being able to connect those people in business who also have a same love for their school, and maybe involved in other activities within those alumni associations, man, that's been beautiful. Really beautiful to be able to connect people like that. And so connecting them via the hobbies.
I was reading a good book this week, How to Be a Power Connector.
Oh.
And what the author in here was talking about is you need to build your relationships with people and find out how effective they can be in your networking. You kind of have you put them in three categories. Your 5 plus 50 plus 100. Your 5 is people you could talk to every single day.
Yeah.
How do you know that? Because you've built the relationship. You've had the successful one-on-ones where they've answered the questions that you've talked about, Sheryl. Your 50 is people, again, that you run into your networking circle. Again, you're building relationships with these people. You know what good leads are for them. And then your 100 are people, again, that you will see, 3 or 4 times a year, but you've connected with them. You've built the relationship. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to narrow down my focus on making my circle kind of smaller, tighter. 5 plus 50 plus 100, that's only 155 people. But, can you really have quality relationships more than 155 people?
So if here's your circle, where am I here in the circle? Out of the circle. So, Rob, where am I? Am I in the circle? I'm out of the circle.
But I think this is important to it's strategically you're looking at your community as a whole, which you could have 500, 1,000 people in it. But when you drill it down to pillar number 2 on the relationship and building those, you've got to narrow it down.
Yeah. Yeah, you do, or you'll just run out of time. Right, but
you won't be successful in really having that good close relationship where I am going to benefit you because I know the exact person that you need to talk to or the type of customer that needs your service.
Yes, so you do narrow it down, but in order to narrow it down, you have to widen it up, right?
Absolutely.
So it's because it's a funnel, right?
Absolutely.
So don't say no to a one-to-one with anybody.
Right.
And if you feel like, hey, it's really a stretch, then do a web chat. Mm-hmm. Do 15 minutes, and maybe you find that, oh my gosh, I dig that person.
Right.
Oh, we're both in square dancing. How fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. So square dancing. So that is, I always tell people too who are new to networking, oh, Sheryl, when they're like, I can't give you a referral because I'm new. Like, I'm new to town, new to my business. You can always find somebody that you can say, hey, you know what? Or an association or a group. So there's always some kind of referral that can come. Don't you agree?
It's critical from that side.
Yeah. So that way, at least you're showing, hey, I'm going to take you to an event. I may not know anybody in town, but I know an event, right? I could take you there or at least put a tickler on your calendar to circle back with them at some later time. But that's the whole reciprocity of a one-on-one that will make it super successful. Now, quickly, and we've got just a couple of minutes, but I want to talk about briefly in just 1 minute how you schedule one-on-ones from the networking community that you're building. So pillar 1, we talked about going to events, right?
Right.
We talked about going to groups, finding network events. You are there meeting people, and now you see some people and you're like, all right, I got business cards. I'm connecting on LinkedIn because, I'm big on that. Pull it up, scanning people.
Right.
Are you scheduling one-on-ones on the spot? Do you go back to your desk the next morning and do it? How do you schedule one-on-ones out of that networking event?
On the networking event, I always have a goal of 1 or 2 one-on-ones booked on the spot.
Okay.
Okay, that's a goal. That's an intentional goal I've set when I go to that networking event. Next thing is in the morning, first thing in the morning, I bring out my sheet of my one-on-ones, and I put the information down on this, and then I try to book 1 or 2 during the rest of the week. So my goal is 3 to 4 one-on-ones out of a networking event. And I'll be honest with you, because some of these events are good. When I go to mid-market professionals, I meet quite a few people. I'm talking 7, 8, 9, 10 cards I've got in my pocket and so it can be more. But yeah, those are my 2 effective, and it's being goal-oriented. Being intentional. That I've set a goal. That's my purpose of going to that event.
Yeah. So I'll give you some tips for me that really help me too, because you can get overwhelmed.
Yes.
I mean, you could do 3 networking events a night, and the next morning you got breakfast. Now you still have business to do to take care of during the day. So I like pulling my phone out during the event. Have your calendar open. So whether that's just Google, you're using an Outlook, or whether you actually have a Calendly type scheduling system, have that out and get it done right there on the spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Either send the link for them to schedule it, or just both of y'all open up your calendars. Let's take a look at where we're open, and let's do it right then and there. Even if you have to do a rescheduling, but that gets the ball rolling, and then it's one less thing you have to remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, people will like you for that because you're efficient and effective. The other thing for me too is if I don't have a calendar, at least connecting on LinkedIn, and I put the personal invite message in there. Mm-hmm. We need to have a whole show on that, because everybody's like, oh my gosh, really? I could do that? So that way in the morning, my message is sitting there unopened. And that's what I go through to then schedule my one-on-ones through that. So there are ways to get it done. That's a great tip. But here's the end of the day, right? It needs to happen fast.
Yes.
Or it probably won't happen.
Yeah.
And if it does happen, then they're not going to remember who you are.
Right.
I'm just saying, we'd like to believe that we're all memorable, right? And they say, Sheryl who? Oh, yes. So we all fail, but let's try not to fail as often.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's the goal. So anything else before we wrap this up?
No, I think to me, the action item is, put the focus on your one-on-ones. Be intentional, set a goal of how many you want to set each week.
Yeah.
Do the follow-up. Just do it.
Yeah. And my action item is practicing the 5 Ps with your one-on-one. Proper planning prevents poor performance. So that means plan for the meeting, do a quick LinkedIn search, Google that person so you have a couple of talking points before you go in. Even if, oh, hey, Rob introduced us. How do you know Rob? I may know nothing about you, but Rob's the common connection.
Right.
So, so hopefully everybody will have better one-on-ones, because it's where the magic happens.
Absolutely. I would say virtually all my business has come from the one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Back to the basics, building the relationship with that person, the follow-up, the stay in touch, and then be a go-giver. Help, bring value to them.
Yeah, but we'll talk about those, because those are other pillars.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have 4 total pillars. This is number 2, building the relationship through one-to-ones. All right, so next week we're going to have pillar number 3, which is
building trust.
Building trust. So important. We touched on it a bit, but we're really going to take a deep dive into that. So Network Today, where we take you from meeting people to
making money
faster. And I'm Sheryl Powers.
I'm Rob Bliss.
And to next week, my friend.
Let's do it.
Looking forward to seeing you.